Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Edwards here at Stewarts Chapel Baptist Church. We are on what I believe is our 9th episode of this podcast. And when we first started talking about this, we had a list of ones that we really wanted to hit, really wanted to go through. And I'm lucky tonight to get to be able to do one of those we had at the top of our list. And tonight I have with me Miss Tammy Hone. How are you, Miss Tammy?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks for being here. Thank you, Mr. Don, for being here too and going through this with us. What we're going to be going through tonight is explaining what OCC is, because that's what everybody knows it as. That's what everybody's heard of it as. We're going to go through that and explain exactly what that is and who all it reaches, all those things. So I will turn that over to you and let you give that little rundown.
Okay. So OCC it stands for Operation Christmas Child. That is a project under Samaritan's Purse where you pack a gift box or a shoebox with gift items, and those are distributed to children in either, it could be like a third world country, it could be a war-torn country, it could be a country that's been affected by natural disaster, or just where the conditions are extreme poverty.
And some background on that, it is, I guess, headed by a famous individual?
Yes. Well, it started by Franklin Graham, and then, of course, it's still, ran by the Graham family under the Samaritan's Purse umbrella.
Interesting. So let's go into just a little bit of background on you in particular. So you've been at this church how long?
21, 22 years.
21 years.
Yep.
So your kids were little then. Huh?
Yep, they were.
So about how many years into being here did this become something that was greatly burdened for you to get involved with?
So I actually looked up the history of Stewarts Chapel with OCC, and as best I can tell, the church started packing shoeboxes in 2004, and that's actually about the time I started to come into church here. But I took over as what's called a project leader in around 2015, so about 11 years ago.
11 years. So that would be 10 years after we started that.
Right.
So we're in our 21st year. Today is almost the 1st of November. So we've got about 2 weeks left before is our big packing day or whatever we want to call it. So we'll get into a little bit of that. What does that day entail? What do we do?
Okay. So we collect our shoeboxes that we pack here at Stewarts Chapel actually the first Sunday or the Sunday before what's called National Collection Week. So that'll be November the 16th this year. National Collection Week is November the 17th through the 24th. It's always the third week in November. We will take up our shoeboxes that day. We are actually a drop-off location as well. So we take in shoeboxes that are packed by other churches or community organizations or even families in the surrounding area. They can drop those shoeboxes off here at Stewarts Chapel between the 17th and the 24th, and we will cartonize those and then get those to the processing center.
So that being done here, so the week before, there will be multiple shifts open of people being here collecting those boxes.
Yes.
And as I'm assuming there will be a sign-up sheet and some of that stuff where people can volunteer to do all that. Normally that's filled by half a dozen or more people normally volunteer to take shifts and do that.
Yes.
So let's go back just a little bit. On the history of this, what do you remember about the first year being involved? Maybe it was just one box, whatever, that kind of pushed you into going that direction.
So I think I started packing shoeboxes a couple of years after I began coming to church here at Stewarts Chapel. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember a whole lot about the details. I just remember that the church did it and I wanted to participate. So having 2 daughters, we would usually pack at least 2 shoeboxes. That way we'd have one for each of them. And then I had the opportunity to go visit a local church actually in the North Alabama area and to see their shoebox packing house. They actually had a house that was donated to the church. And I had the opportunity to go walk through that and see how they collected items year round and how their ministry grew because of the church's involvement in the ministry. And I think that's when I had the desire to do more with the ministry.
Because up until that point, we were just making boxes and then taking them to a collection center.
Yes.
We were not at that point.
Right.
So what kind of teamwork goes into that here? What does it look like as far as that goes?
So here at Stewarts Chapel, I am what's called the project leader. Most people that are project leaders don't know that that's what they are. They just do it because they like the ministry. That same was true for me. So as the project leader, one of the things you do is you encourage the church to participate. You provide them with information. Some things change from year to year on what's allowed to be packed in shoeboxes. The dates, keeping the church informed of when the drop-off dates are, things like that. So that's just part of the project leader role. And since we are a drop-off location, Breanne Mitchell is our drop-off leader. And so with that, like you mentioned, she has a sign-up sheet that's on the back bulletin board, people that are interested in participating and volunteering for that. So we collect the shoeboxes here. Breanne is responsible for getting them to our central drop-off location, which is in Tullahoma. And then we have a central drop-off leader, and she's responsible for getting the trucks there, the 18-wheelers, to get those loaded so that the boxes are taken to the processing center.
Which is?
The processing center, oddly enough, the shoeboxes we collect, they go to Boone, North Carolina.
Really?
Most people think they go to Atlanta, but they don't. They go to Boone.
But some of you have been to the big ones.
We have. So actually, Atlanta is one of the largest processing centers. And so we, as a church, we actually took a small team of people there, I think twice in the past. They start processing shoeboxes literally the week of Thanksgiving, and they go until they run out. It usually runs about the second to third week of December. So if a person's interested, they can go online to the OCC website, and there's a volunteer form on there you can fill out, and you can register to go and take your family, take a ball team, however you want to do that, to go and serve at the processing center.
And I'll for just a second, what's rolling been behind us is a bunch of pictures that Tammy's taken over the years, and there's some of those in here that show that processing center and just the massive amount that it is. It's pretty amazing seeing some of that. So let's see. Do you have one, if you can pick one, special memory, moment, whatever, that comes back from some of this, where you've seen from the front end all the way to the end? I said that weird. From the front all the way to the end, all the way to the receiving
The entire
point.
process.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of hard to pick one story, one thing, but I've been blessed with the opportunity to participate from going to Walmart and you're buying your school supplies or whatever. And of course, you always get asked, are you a teacher? Because you're buying 200 spiral notebooks. And
Sure. Yeah.
so there's a lot of stories from there all the way to having the opportunity last year to go to Kenya to distribute shoeboxes. And really to kind of pick one story would be sort of hard. But I think one of the biggest things is probably having the opportunity to hear some of the those who have received a shoebox when they were a child and now as an adult. Some of them children are now here in the U.S. and they will come to different outreach events and share their story about how the shoebox impacted them. So hearing those has probably been some of the most memorable experiences.
All right. So let's see. I just watched it Sunday, and I remember them saying there's something major. The guy threw up a flag. This cannot go.
That is soap.
Soap. And that blew my mind. I'm like, okay, that's a strange thing to not say. But I don't, whatever it is, but there is some do's and don'ts. What is the best way to find that out? Find that information.
So again, if you go to the Operation Christmas Child Facebook page, there's actually a list of what to pack in shoeboxes. So you pick the age, if you want to pack for a boy or a girl, and it'll even give you a suggested packing list. But there's also on there a list of things that are not allowed to be packed. A lot of those things are due to customs in the various countries. If they, for example, if you've got an entire shipment container full of shoeboxes, we as OCC have to give customs they want a list of everything that's on that shipping container. And that's hard to do. So what they do instead is they'll have a list that says there are things like, and it has a general list of, that's where that packing list comes from. So because through that list, they're able to get into countries easier. However, they will inspect the shipping container. And if they find something in there that is not allowed in that country, like for toothpaste, for example, years ago, we used to be able to pack toothpaste. And because of customs, that's no longer allowed. But if they open a shoebox and there is a tube of toothpaste in there, that could stop the entire shipment. And it could take weeks or months before, if they even allow the shipment to continue. So that's the reason that they have a do not pack list. So it's really important to try not to pack things that are liquid, that are breakable. And of course, the big item this year is soap, bar soap. Liquids have not been allowed ever that I know of, but the bar soap is a new item for this year that's not allowed.
See, I know I'm guilty of it on many things across the whatever people make a rule, and you're like, wow, that just doesn't make any sense at all. But knowing and asking those questions brings all, well, okay, that makes perfect sense. So, right. I mean, understanding that, having the joy of doing and being able to pack the box is something amazing, but just adhere by the rules. Don't ruin something because you just, well, that's dumb. I don't want to go by that. So anyway, so I want to get to a little bit of, I guess, personal part of it. What have you learned personally about faith, generosity, service from being a part of this? How has that spurred you further in that way?
I think probably one of the biggest things is probably really coming to the servant part of it. I think some of us just have a gift of serving. And I think that through me being involved with OCC, I work a full-time job. So this is a volunteer position, but yet it still takes a lot of time to do because it's a year-round volunteer position. There's usually the month of December. Well, I work at the processing center usually in December. January is about the only month out of the year that I'm not doing something with OCC.
And I'm just going to say you're probably buying something just to say that.
Well, probably that. But, I mean, actually, like, putting hours of effort in, towards the ministry. So through that, I think that it's made me be more intentional in areas that I serve. And what I mean by that is one thing I've really learned personally is that if I'm doing 20 things, I can't do them well. So I've had to, really what I did is I made a list, because I'm a list maker, of all the things I was involved in and pick the things that I'm more passionate about, things that you pray over it, of course. And if I'm doing something that God's not calling me to do, it's going to reflect on how well I'm doing that. But I think through that, it's helped me to see that there are a lot of things I can't do that I would like to be able to do, but I need to be very intentional about where I'm serving.
That's what I was starting to say. You got to be intentional about all those things.
Right.
So let's see. Encouragement for the people that are packing these boxes. Some things to consider, to think about, what really helps that?
So I think a couple of things. One of the things that OCC really is trying to push the last couple of years is to help people understand that every shoebox needs to be fun. This is not a humanitarian effort. A lot of people look at it that way. When I pack a shoebox, the intent is not to provide a means of income for a child. It's hard not to do that, because we're just blessed.
Yeah.
And wanting to give, just whatever the reason, whatever the heart behind that is. But it's to remember that the shoebox needs to be fun. Think about your child. If you give them a birthday gift, do they want, some would be fine with a fishing pole. They would love that. But would they rather have a stuffed animal or a ball or toys? They're kids. So I think making sure the shoebox is fun, make sure it's full. It's a lot of effort and work that goes into that shoebox to get it to that child. The customs, the logistics can be absolutely a nightmare. So making sure the box is fun and it's full, and then also making it personal. One of the things that I try to do and I've committed to do is to put a personal letter in every shoebox that I pack. I think putting a picture of your family in there is, even if it's a picture of your dog, give them a picture of something to look at, because they actually pay attention to that when they get the shoebox. So I think, keeping those things in mind. And then one of the most important things I try to help people understand is that, and a lot of people don't know this, is that the child that gets a shoebox, they are only going to get one shoebox one time in their life. They're not going to be able to come back next year to get another one. They're not going to get another shoebox when they promote to the next age category. They only get one shoebox. So make sure the items you put in there are quality.
Really? I
Make
didn't
sure
know
it's
that.
something that's going to last that child. If you put something in there that's going to fall apart a week later, that's not a quality item.
Wow.
You know, the shoebox should reflect the love of Christ.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know they only got one.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So we're gonna just cover some basics.
Okay.
Where's the best way to get started?
So there's actually two ways to get started. One of them, if you're just, hey, I want to get my family involved. Maybe you want to get a church or organization, whatever that is involved. Use a standard size shoebox. It does not have to be the red and green OCC shoeboxes. It can literally be any shoebox you use or that you have. A lot of shoe stores will donate shoeboxes if you go by and ask them for a couple. So just a standard size shoebox. Use the packing list that's online that gives you suggestions, but each shoebox should have a wow item in it. That's kind of like the bigger item, that's in the box. I try to include school supplies in mine. Unfortunately, a lot of children in third world countries, they don't get to go to school if they don't have a pencil or a notebook so I try to, include some basic school supplies in mine. And then, hygiene items, which of course soap's not allowed anymore, but I usually try to put like a comb or a hairbrush or washcloth, different things like that. Some people do nail clippers or Band-Aids or whatever you want to put in there. But, and no medical items at all are allowed. I mean, not even medicated chapstick is allowed. You can put chapstick, but it can't be medicated. Really? So, so then your hygiene items, and then the rest of the shoebox, I just fill it up with small items like jump rope, yo-yo, like the old jacks that we used to play with when I was a little kid anyway. But again, just high quality toys. Just fill every nook and cranny in that shoebox. If you put like a water bottle in there, put stuff inside the water bottle. Don't send empty space. Huh. So then you pack your shoebox, pray over it. That's the most important thing you'll put in the box. And then you can go online and put in like your zip code, and it will tell you the closest drop-off location to you. Just take your shoebox to that drop-off location, and they'll take care of from that step forward in the process.
And there is another way you can do
there is.
Online.
So they started a few years ago. It's called BASBO. It's Build a Shoebox Online. That is probably the simplest way to pack a shoebox. The price did go up a little bit this year. So for $30, that does include the $10 donation that's requested with every shoebox that's packed. That is not just for shipping. That covers training. It covers all the logistics. It even covers like the electric and water that they use at the processing center. It includes the material that the child gets when they get a shoebox. They get a little booklet called The Greatest Gift, and it's a colored booklet written in their own language, and it teaches them the basics of the gospel. So you can go to the OCC website and click the Build a Shoebox Online, and you can just click a button that says Pack Me a Shoebox, or you can go in and customize your box. You can pick what age, boy or girl, and what you want to put in that box. And you can pay for the shoebox online. For $30, you pack a shoebox, and it includes the $10 donation, which is a phenomenal deal. It's hard to pack a shoebox for under that. And then you'll also get they'll send you an email telling you where the box is delivered to. So you will learn, you can track the shoebox. And they will, once the box is distributed, you can go back and they'll send you an email and tell you where your box was, if it went to the Ukraine or Rwanda or whatever country it's sent to.
All right. So I've asked a bunch of questions. So is there anything you feel like people need to know, that questions you may get that you want to clear out? Anything here?
Nothing that I don't think we've really covered. I think one of the biggest things is, again, as I said, people, need to understand that the child only gets one shoebox. They're not going to get another one. One thing I will also mention is that OCC really requests that people use a standard size shoebox. And that's because when a shipping container is sent to another country, they assume that every carton that's on that shipping container has about 15 or 16 shoeboxes in it. Well, if you have a generous heart and you're like, I want to pack a giant, say like a file box, they're big. We can only get one of those in a carton with maybe 3 or 4 regular shoeboxes. So when that shipping container gets to that receiving country, that's roughly 8, 9 kids that aren't going to get a shoebox that they had accounted for. So that's why one reason why it's very important to try to stick to a standard size shoebox. Another one is if you have, just like our children in the U.S., they're no different across the world. And if you've got 2 children sitting next to each other and you've got one who received a box that's in a file box, I'm talking like one of those 12 by 14 huge boxes, and the little guy sitting next to him has a standard size shoebox, that's not reflecting that God loves both of them, not to a child anyway, that that love's equal. So that's another reason why they discourage using super large boxes.
Interesting. Well, I have, in all of these podcasts that I've done, I have asked each one, been on, why Stewarts Chapel for you?
Why Stewarts Chapel is a church?
For you. And your family.
And my family. So my family is actually the biggest why we started coming here. We were going to another church in the county, and actually one of my daughters had a friend at school that invited her. And the church we were going to at the time didn't have any type of children's program. In fact, when we went to Sunday school, my kids went with me. Their Sunday school class had like 3 kids in it, and they just didn't feel comfortable going. So we started coming to Stewarts Chapel really for the children's ministry that they had here. And it's, of course, my girls have grown up in the church, and it's just family.
And then that one is back in it as an adult.
Right.
So
yes. And now she's,
full
her and her
circle
husband
going
are
on
now
there,
teaching the children's ministry now. So, yeah.
Well, I thank you, Miss Tammy, for doing this. I know
Sure.
that I have learned quite a bit just through this time that I thought I knew a lot about, and apparently I didn't. So I feel kind of bad about that. But anyway, everybody can learn something every day. But again, we are here at Stewarts Chapel Baptist Church in Flintwood, Tennessee, and November 16th is going to be the final collection day. The week leading up to that is going to be the drop-off week, correct?
The week after that.
Week after.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll collect everything in here, and then it's the
Right.
week after. So for the ones that are here on Sunday mornings, we will collect the boxes. We'll start collecting them here in the FLC, start stacking them all up, starting now, basically. And 16th, we'll take them all down and get them ready to ship off. But again, Miss Tammy, I appreciate it. Thank you
Sure.
for coming with
Thank
us,
you.
coming in and talking about this. And we will see you guys next time.